is a raw material in your business, right? So a capital investment typically doesn't have an income statement it isn't an income statement issue, it's a balance statement issue. With oil and gas investments, it is an upfront capital, it's an upfront investment. Granted, it is, normally you have debt financing or corporate financing that stretches the actual cash consequence of that investment perhaps out over several years. And that investment is associated with the sales of production, sales of oil, sales of gas, right? But, so I guess my concern is I'm not used to seeing people hedge capital investments. They're hedging income statement issues. So it further complicates the design of the hedge. I'd say with an oil and gas producer, it isn't insurmountable, I guess, in my opinion, in fact, I'd say it's even perhaps laudable that an oil and gas producer would hedge its investment in the ability, its capital investment in the ability to produce oil and gas. And hedge it, but it complicates the hedge calculation because I think you've got to, again, you're hedging earnings, right? That's what hedging does. So you've got to convert the capital investment into cash management sort of cash flows, if you know what I'm saying. So, you know, it isn't. I don't think it would be as simple as your capital investment was $1 billion, and your production was, $200 million a year. Those are the dollars that you're using, to set up your hedge instrument. As simple as that. I think you got to think about it more as what is the, realized, cost of that capital over time. And that's what you'd be hedging.
Fairly detailed workings around that.
There'd be good detailed working documents about that?
Well,
is that what you said?
Well,
yes.
You normally expect to see that, right?
You would have to see that, yes. Yeah. A CFO, my guess, would insist that those sort of working documents were there to back up and justify specifically what is what's the earnings risk that you are concerned about, and how does that build into the model of the volumes that you're hedging?
Okay, and another couple of quick questions. Do you know if Canadian banks would they have available AUD hedging against USD?
You're talking about Australian dollar against US dollar against Canadian?
Well,
by Canadian banks?
Against USD, but I'm wondering whether Canadian banks would offer that.
It would surprise me if the large banks like Toronto Dominion and whatnot would not offer that service to their clients. Right. But I don't know through firsthand information, but it would surprise me if they didn't.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And when an entity, so in this case, a Canadian entity, is entering into hedging, say as agent or on behalf of another entity, would you expect that the Canadian entity would disclose to the bank which entity is acting on behalf of, or what the underlying FX risk is? Or would you expect that it's normal that they would just say we want to enter into hedging on these terms without mentioning it?
Well, if they're agent, in my vernacular in the U.S., if you're agent on behalf of, and I am agent on behalf of a lot of transactions, I'm not on others. I'm a broker, right? But if you're agent on behalf of, that carries fiduciary responsibility of full disclosure and acting as if you are a fiduciary. And so there are times when clients, less sophisticated clients, I guess you have to limit how much you are sharing with them. it's just too much information for him.